Today is Wednesday, November 13th, 2024. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is our recap of Survivor 47, Week 9.
This episode's titled Nightmare Fuel, and we missed it.
Yeah.
We don't know who said that.
I don't remember hearing it at all.
Previously on Survivor, Rachel's heart's racing as she retrieves a hidden immunity idol from the corner of the tarp right in the middle of camp. Gata wants to work with Lavo. Genevieve shifts it all onto Sierra. Andy wants revenge, and Sierra is out. We're back at the camp on night 15. This all essentially happens in a one-day cycle, day 16. But just after Tribal, we're back at camp, and Sam thanks everyone for giving him another day in the game.
And then he tells us he and Rachel were blindsided.
Got, he said. What a great summary. I like the alliteration. And Rachel and Sam pledged to look out for each other, and Sam notes that the Lavo crew are really good liars.
And that their big mistake was leaving him in the game.
Well, I like that Rachel jumped in there really quick with, we need them, so let's not go off on them. Yep. And then we got the confirmation from Rachel that she played her shot in the dark to gauge reactions at Tribal Council.
And that she had felt something was going on, she just wasn't sure what.
And she declares that she will work with anyone. Her door is open.
And Andy tells us he is now a certified flipper.
Yep, we see him reconciling, or at least having a discussion with Sam, where he describes how he felt left out at the merge, and Sam seemed to manage all that really well.
And he feels like he has a bond with Rachel because they've both been on the bottom, even if he did blindside her with the Annika vote. He tells Rachel that the one thing he's afraid of, and the one person, is Kyle in challenges. And this is when Rachel tells us that Sue and Carolyn don't like Kyle, and they hope he loses. They want to get rid of him. I don't know why they don't like him, though, unless they're just afraid of him winning or being more likable.
I think he moved against them early in the game. He didn't quickly align with them, and then he was even considering, I think, voting out Sue first, and she never let go of that.
That I remember now.
Mm-hmm.
She's been holding that, and she still wants to get him.
Yeah, we see Teeny and Saul talking to Sam, and Teeny is opening up the conversation by saying sorry, but everybody felt like they needed to split you and Sierra up. Sam handled all that really well. Totally fooled Saul.
Yeah, he did. But he tells us that he now has a vendetta against Lavo, but he can bide his time.
Yeah. And we see them discussing Tuku also. Sam's talking about how Gabe's got that connection with Sue and Caroline, and that makes them really dangerous.
It does.
And Teeny comments about how she's unsure of their dynamic. She hadn't been able to figure any of that out. And we hear Saul say that he wants to get Gabe at some point. So.
Yeah. Tree mail.
Okay, they're going to have to divide up into 5 pairs. We've seen a variation on this before where the immunity challenge goes in stages, and this is going to be like that too. They have a sense of it. It seemed like they knew how it was going to play out.
Well, Rachel went right for Carolyn.
Mm-hmm. And we see Sam paired up with Andy, which surprised Andy a little bit, but he was fine with that. Then Gabe and Kyle, and Sue and Genevieve, and we didn't really get to see Teeny and Saul talk, but they've been best buds for a while. So, okay, in the first stage of the challenge, they're going to have to crawl through and push sand out of the way, and untie a puzzle step. There's a series of steps that they're going to have to gather as they go through this challenge. And then the second part of that stage, they're going to have to dig up another step. And then in the third stage, they're going to build this big staircase. Was it like 13 steps or something? There's a lot of steps there.
Yeah,
they had to work out with different shapes in it. And then they have to traverse a 3-level balance beam. That was pretty cool. And then at the very end, the last 4 are going to compete against each other for individual immunity. It's the classic one, endurance, pain management challenge, where there are these tiny little ledges that they have to put their feet on, and they can brace themselves on the sided walls, but it's a classic and it's brutal.
So many people have had long-term, if not permanent, damage from...
Yeah. This is a brutal challenge, to be sure. Reward, 4 people are going to get the 4 finalists at the end that go for individual immunity are going to get a picnic lunch. And then we get the twist. The first 2 pairs out are going to lose their vote, and there's going to be a journey that those 4 go on with a chance to earn it back. We've seen that variation before too, although this one's a little different. So I kind of liked how it worked out, but we'll talk about that later. And then the first 3 pairs to finish that first stage, where they crawl through the cage, pushing the sand out of the way, and then untying a board, and then digging up a board. They're going to move on to the next stage.
And of course, Kyle comes out of the first section first.
Who's got a big old butt? Teeny's got a big old butt, and it's stuck in the cage. That's what she said. Okay. She used a different word, but yeah.
Okay. We'll let you get away with that then. Okay.
So Sam and Andy get through, Kyle and Gabe get through, and they start working on digging up the step, and the bag ripped for Sam and Andy, and that seemed to just...
Yep, then they couldn't get to it.
Unraveled somehow. They lost the concept of digging and removing sand on top of it. I don't know why they fell so far apart just because the bag ripped.
Either.
Probst was quick to say, well, that's on you.
Yeah, that's on you. You did it to yourself.
Now fix it. Yeah.
To get back to work. Okay, so Andy and Sam and both Carolyn and Rachel lose their vote.
Yeah, I was surprised to see Teeny and Saul and then Genevieve and Sue pull that out. I just kept thinking at any second Sam and Andy were going to get that board, but that did not happen.
It did not. The girls won out. Good on them.
Okay, stage 2, they got to build a staircase, and then they got to cross that 3-level balance beam. The first 2 pairs to finish move on. And the steps in the staircase have, small, medium, large circles in it? I don't know how many different sizes there were, but there were at least 3, and then they were in different patterns.
Right. Genevieve seemed to be really good in getting those patterns down, and then she and Sue were communicating them very well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so that
her system seemed to... They were in the lead for the staircase part, at least.
Absolutely. They got there first. Got to the top first, and unfortunately, they had trouble with the beam.
Yeah, with the balance beam.
Well, Genevieve did. Well, Sue got over, kinda. She fell over, but she made it, so...
Yeah, she got to the end without falling down into the net that was below the balance beam.
Yeah, she fell, but not into the net, so she was good. And then they didn't show us too much until we realized that, I thought Kyle's balance would be good once they finally got up there. But Gabe's was pretty good, too. And all of a sudden... Genevieve was the last one slowly coming across, and they lost. So
they keep their vote, but they lost. They don't have an opportunity to move on and compete for individual immunity.
So it's between Saul, Kyle, Teeny, and Gabe.
And there's 4 different steps, footholds, I think, that they worked through.
Yeah, I think it was 4.
First one, the largest one, it must have been just a couple of minutes. It was pretty quick, right?
Oh, I thought he was doing them in 5-minute increments.
Well, the next one, the second one, and they did live transition, so they have to maintain their position up there as they move down to the more narrow footholds. He said that one was for 5 minutes, and then the third foothold, they had to stay there for 10 minutes.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. Teeny and Sol ended up going out at that third foothold about the same, almost exactly
yeah.
the
She
same
went out
time.
slightly before.
Yeah, just a hint before. So it's a showdown between Kyle and Gabe, and we thought Kyle was going to lose and get voted out. And so...
Well, I was cheering for him to win.
You were, even though it was against your interest in JSFL.
I know. I had him as my vote out, but I didn't want to have him as my vote.
Hard not to cheer for Kyle, but unfortunately, he did not pull it out.
That's true. Good on Gabe.
Yeah, Gabe ends up winning and does a funny dance and drop the immunity necklace. I don't know if we've ever seen someone do that
doing
before.
Any kind of dance, moving side to side on the feet that had just been up there was pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, I guess so.
Even though it looked kind of strange. But at least he had his victory dance. And Gabe wins immunity. And off on the journey was Sam, Andy, Carolyn, and Rachel. And they find out they have to play a game, and only 3 will get their vote back. 1 will not. I wasn't quite sure how they was going to do that. They made us wait till after commercial.
Yeah. We get a brief interlude with Gabe describing the 3 groups, and then that segues into the picnic itself, where he is with Sol, who turns out to be the burp machine. Like burps extraordinaire.
Well, only because he said he felt comfortable enough with them to just let it go. It's like I would have said, Sol, don't. Actually, it's not a big deal, but and he, I guess, waits till people are kind of done eating before he says, okay, let's stop. And he tells them that who he thinks should go.
Yeah, we see Teeny say Sam, right? And then Kyle says he's in, and then Sol says, well, I don't want to do Sam right now.
Yep.
And then they cut to Sue and Genevieve, who are just back at camp waiting on them to return from the picnic. And they start talking about Genevieve hatches her plan to get rid of Sol. She tells us she's been waiting to get revenge for quite a while.
Yeah, as Sue was going to get her revenge on Kyle.
Yeah.
Till she found out Genevieve had the perfect thing to tell her that Sol is after Gabe. So she must have some inkling. But it worked out perfect because that got Sue off of Kyle to go after.
On board.
Well, Kyle could wait. He'd waited this long.
Blindside Sol, yes.
I'm glad, but I'm not sure they didn't make a mistake with that. But okay. Sue's okay with the Sol vote if Genevieve talks to Gabe and it's okay with Gabe.
And that's when we learn on the journey that they're going to have, the 4 of them will have to compete. 3 are going to earn back their vote and 1 will not.
She tells Gabe that both Sol and Teeny want him out.
Who's she?
Genevieve, when she's talking to Gabe.
Okay.
She tells Gabe that both Sol and Teeny are wanting him out.
Gotcha.
Now, I was a little bit surprised to hear her say Teeny. I thought she was just going to, throw Sol under the bus, but she was throwing them both under the bus.
Gabe jumped on that pretty quick. Tells us Sol will regret that.
They tell Kyle, and he said, okay, as long as it's not me.
Right. And, right there, too, you see Gabe telling Kyle, this is all Genevieve. She's worked this plan out to go after Sol, to target Sol.
And they just need one more person to make it happen.
That's a great setup, right? She's like, counting on Caroline. Yeah, that's going to be it.
And who loses their vote?
So what did you think about the challenge there and how it ran?
I liked that because it's nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
When you go to touch something and you touch it,
so
and you get nervous and your hands start to shake and tremble. And
they have to build basically a card stack, a house of cards, and they have to use triangle shape, so it's 3 pieces per level. It starts building up vertically. And if the stack falls during your turn,
that's it.
You lose and you've lost your vote.
And I thought I could just feel the tenseness, till you get
It's good
past
for
your
that. Yeah, it was. And they
it's my
conveyed
turn,
a lot
it's
of
my
that
turn.
because it looked like Rachel wasn't going to be able to do one of them. That it was going to be her, and she ended up pulling it out, and then it just got too high, and Caroline's.
Well,
fell
the
over.
higher it gets, and each piece that goes on,
Yeah.
the next piece could be it.
Yep. So Caroline loses her vote, but she tells us she hopes the plan back at camp is to vote out Kyle since he doesn't have immunity.
And they all seem to jump on board. So I was already thinking, which one of them is gonna give them the vote? And I thought, well, why wouldn't they? I mean, I know they wanted Kyle. But with Sam, it's like, just be grateful it's not you and do what they want, at least for this vote.
This is where things went sideways, though. Since Genevieve couldn't get Caroline, she went to bring in Rachel. And then Rachel ends up indirectly, her and Sam work out a system where he can guess who the vote is on.
Was it really indirectly? She didn't have to say anything.
Yeah, but then Sam, what did you think about Sam's choice? He turned right around and did what she asked not to do.
I didn't see that coming, but I expected him to do something.
Sam went right to Saul and told Saul what he needed to do to marshal votes so that he could win.
I expected him to do something, but I was surprised that it was Sue he went after. Yeah,
that was an interesting choice, I guess. He wanted to target her. He said she's the most insulated, and if they can get her out, it'll feel... I like that reasoning, that it would free up other people that they could work with. I don't know that was valid, but it's an interesting way to think about it.
Yeah.
And so now he's going to go try to get Genevieve and Teeny to come in on this with him.
This was all just a big mess, like Genevieve said. It was just, it's like, what?
Right. I think it conveyed it well, too. And, of course, she did her narrator part, talking about how the time's ticking down, and then they were jump cutting around. You see different people saying who it is, and you see the different names. Is it Kyle? Is it Sue?
Is it Saul? Who is it? And I liked her saying there's all these questions, and there are no answers, and we have to go to tribal now.
Yes.
And they can't talk on the way over there. That must just be burning a hole in your brain, wanting to go, hey, walk back here with me.
Right.
But they must always make them walk single file so they can't talk, because that's what they always do.
And they're producers and people in the boats with them when they're transporting them.
Sure.
When they can't, they're not allowed to talk to each other.
Yep.
Okay, Tribal Council, night 16. No smiles from Sierra. She was not happy.
Nope. She letting them know.
Yeah.
She wasn't happy. I'm sure Sam was sitting there going, what did I do?
Probst recapped the challenge from today for Sierra, basically, so to catch her up with what had happened. Yeah. And then asked Kyle about how this camaraderie was working. Can you cheer for each other while at the same time you're picking somebody to vote out?
Well, sure, you can.
Which
doesn't mean you won't vote them out.
Right, which was a question, but really what was more interesting and what was more highlighted from the edit was that immediately discussions start.
And Saul started it.
You see Saul talking to Genevieve, and
he said,
right.
See, and she's like, what? The faces she makes. Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
She's good at that.
Yikes.
And then Teeny's talking to Sam and telling Sam, I don't know, something weird's going on.
He said, Sue.
Yeah.
I would have thought they were beyond that part by now.
But this was exemplifying exactly how unsettled things were.
And Jeff's trying to establish, okay, Caroline can't vote, and he's still trying to get people to answer his questions. Mm-hmm. And Teeny tells us she would rely on her adaptability.
And we see Andy talking to Sam and saying, switch to Kyle.
Well, and she's like, we're unclear what we're doing.
That's what Saul said, too. This is just like the confusion back at camp.
Yeah, and then Kyle's like, this is unnerving.
And then
we thought it was settled.
Andy laid it all out and said, yeah, we didn't finish at camp. That's what's really going on.
But Saul tells Andy it's Sue.
we see Gabe reassure Kyle a couple of times, telling him one time, 100%, you're good.
Though Gabe did say, this makes things unreliable, you know. And again, Caroline does not have a vote.
I liked Genevieve's line where she said, good players differentiate news from noise, or signal from noise. But she said news from noise, being able to make the decision on what's the useful information. And Caroline was echoing some of that too.
Well, I'm pretty sure Saul thought everybody got the message and they're voting the way he wants. And somehow they all got the message.
Yeah. No advantages or idols were played.
That's right. And it was a unanimous vote for Saul.
Even Teeny voted for him. She wanted to be on the right side of the vote.
Yep.
Saul's out, second member of our jury. He said, they got me. And Genevieve said, holy snarkies, that actually worked.
And Teeny's crying, I love you, Saul. He said, good luck, Teeny.
Yeah. See how you fare with this den of vipers.
Well, he admitted they got him. Mm-hmm. They got him good.
Yeah. I liked how he summed it up. This was awesome, he said.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hang on to that because, yes, you're sad in the moment and you're surprised and you're going to have to deal with your emotions. But how awesome. You got to play Survivor.
Yes.
And you're on the jury. You're not done. You might be out of the game as far as winning, but you still get to participate.
Yes.
So, and you still got a job to do.
Get as much of the experience as you can now.
Absolutely.
Short of final 3. Well, what did you think of the overall episode?
Very enjoyable episode.
It was good. I like the journey. I like that there wasn't a lot of people that lost their vote. I kind of wish they all had a chance to get their vote back. That lose your vote dynamic just continues to not sit well with me, to take the one bit of agency that gives you value in tribal council and to have that go away.
But I think they do it because that really shook things up. Just one person, but that was the one person they had counted on.
Caroline was the linchpin they were looking for.
And so then everything went a little haywire because of it.
Yep.
Because they weren't sure who they could trust.
But I guess in the end, like Genevieve said, she was able to pull that together.
Yep. And
it was exciting. I like the multi-stage challenge. And that's a classic challenge. I enjoy that. It's endurance. It didn't seem to last as long as some of them that we've seen.
I think that was deliberate. I mean, I think you don't want to injure your players. And that one, I think, if they stay up there too long, of doing nerve damage.
Yeah, accelerating and narrowing it down.
You don't want them not to be able to finish playing.
I was surprised Gabe won, too. I didn't really expect him to win anything until Kyle was gone.
Yeah, and he was in pain right from the get-go, you could tell. So, yeah, I was surprised he lasted. For a minute, I thought he's going to be the first one to go.
Yeah, me too. Excellent overall. Interesting how it's playing out. It's still chaos and a hodgepodge. You don't know how things are. I think they've made a mistake letting that many tuku stay in, though.
Yeah, that's...
Smack's a little of 45 now. We'll see.
Well, I hope... I actually do hope that this blows up in Genevieve's face.
Yeah?
I do.
You want to cheer against Genevieve now?
I kind of do.
Yeah?
I'm being a bad girl. But, yeah, kind of, because I like Saul even more than I like Genevieve. So... You know.
Again,
but I thought she turned on her group that she could have cultivated to have the numbers and she turned on not just Saul but Teeny too. So where does she think she's getting all her numbers from? I mean,
it's a great question.
That was, getting the revenge was a little more important than getting a win. I'm not sure if she thought that all the way through, but.
I don't think anyone thinks of Teeny as a threat to win. That would be my guess at how she's perceived in the game at this point.
Well, that could be their downfall.
And it'll be interesting to see how much of an inroad Genevieve has made with Sue.
Yeah.
Because she kind of gave that to Sue in a way, right? Oh, He wants to get you.
She did, but what's it going to get her in the long run?
Well,
maybe it will.
Yeah.
Maybe it won't.
I don't know if it's enough to wedge out Gabe or Caroline. I don't think so.
No, I don't think so, that it'll wedge out either one of those. But Kyle, yes, she could be the new fourth.
Mm-hmm.
And if so, then maybe that was worth it for her. But if they decide, man, we can't trust her either, and they discard her, or, hey, she's too strategic, we don't want her
They did
around.
show us where Gabe said to Kyle, this is her plan.
Yes.
So that could be that extra spotlight shining on her extra bright now that
Yep.
causes her.
She drew attention
Yeah.
because she made a big move.
Yep. And we know that people are scared of strategic players.
Yes,
So.
and of big moves. She
Yep.
gets credit for that one.
All right.
Check on her
Interesting.
resume.
Okay, next
as
time
they
on
say.
Survivor, Andy is a smiling assassin, he tells us.
Yes, he is smiling at everyone and being charming, and people get to see the charming Andy.
Well, he was charming Teeny and he was charming Rachel. I don't know about everyone.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah. And Sam is out to get revenge,
Yep,
and Sue wants to kill Kyle.
and he does not know or care who he burns.
Yeah.
He's gonna get his revenge and twist the knife. Now, who's he talking about this time?
Everyone? They were all against
You
him.
don't, yeah,
taking
but
out
you don't
Sierra.
think he's taking out Genevieve because her move got pulled off instead of his for Sue.
Well, we did get to see how sharp he was at deducing things. They gave him a moment there with Rachel and him guessing that the target
Yeah.
was Saul, so that she knew he would probably move and do something with that.
Well, she didn't have to confirm it.
And then
She could have just said,
Sue's obsessed with getting rid of Kyle. He just really offended her on some level. He probably guessed her age accurately or something like that.
Well, he wrote her name down, and I guess that was enough.
Yeah.
So,
How about a JSFL update?
all right, John R. is still in first place with 45 points. 26 people lost their USB. 111 people lost a safe point, and 18 people earned a vote-off point.
Okay.
Good for you. That was not me or you.
No.
For the side challengers, Jeremiah's in first with 40, Rebecca with 39. With 36, we have Anderson, Justin, and Robert. 35, Lisa Ray. 33, Stacy. And 32, Parker.
Uh-huh. Parker had a rough week again. I think I must have dodged the bullet. I must not have had Saul safe.
Well, you didn't.
Okay. It was all about safe point management. at
Yes,
this
which
peak.
we were trying to figure out together today. And I was actually going to put Saul down a vote off. And then you started talking about you thought Kyle couldn't win another week. And I thought, oh, yeah, that could be.
Well, I was right.
Yeah, well, I changed my mind and lost that.
Mm-hmm.
I would have gotten a vote-off point for the first time this season.
Interesting way
but
to
I
spin it.
did not.
Yeah, you got talked out of it, did you?
No, you didn't talk me out of it. I made my own choice.
Who's going to go next? Who do you think?
Wow. Jeez, with this group, it's really difficult. Well, if Sue gets her way, we know who will go. I'm hoping Kyle will win the next one.
I'd say, there's a chance.
Because, I don't know,
He survived. He really
he did.
dodged
Yeah,
a
yeah.
bullet here
Yeah,
in
yeah.
that he had won those three, lost this one, and did not get voted out. Somehow Saul became a bigger target. They bought into the Genevieve play.
Do you think...
I think Gabe really liked strategically what she was doing.
Oh, yeah. But do you think Gabe really knows how much Sue wants Gabe or wants Kyle out?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe Sue has been very open and deliberate and frank with Gabe about that.
But why wouldn't Gabe, if Gabe trusts Kyle, he must not, but if he trusts Kyle over people who aren't old Tuku, then why wouldn't he talk to Sue to try to talk her down and just go, wait, we'll get him,
Probably
just
knows
wait.
better than trying to do that with her.
Well, I don't know. She went with Genevieve. Genevieve convinced her because, whoa, she told her they're after Gabe. And so Sue doesn't think she can stay in the game without Gabe.
Yeah, I don't know. We haven't seen any more since early on to give us more insight into their dynamic.
I think Gabe could let
Do
go
they
of
have
Sue
strategy talks?
if he didn't need her.
Yes. Well, and we get closer and closer to that point for sure.
But I think she's totally loyal to him. I'm not sure he'd be that loyal to her if he didn't need her.
And he would be able to even get her vote. He would say there was just no way.
Vote for me and the jury.
There's just no way I could leave you there. Our games were too similar.
And you would beat me.
Yes. Just to pay her a compliment, and then that would be done. He would get her vote.
Yeah. Well, I sure hate to see Saul go. I would have liked to see him play longer.
And it passes that test again for me because I'm the same way. I really wish he was still in the game. I liked watching him. I liked the progress he was making, all of that. And I will miss having him in the strategic part of the game. So, yeah.
Who's your 4 least favorite?
4 least favorite? Well, let's see. Number 1 would be Sue. Number 2 is Andy. Although those two back and forth in terms of least favorite, Andy and Sue. Andy's getting a very favorable edit right now.
Yes.
Like super, super favorable edit.
So for me, it's Sam and Sue.
Oh, okay. All right. And then 2 more.
Then maybe Andy for me.
Caroline.
Yeah, she's not.
She just doesn't add anything to the game, and
I know. I so want her to.
Yeah, I totally get it. I understood why people were picking her to win. Yes,
and I have her to win, but she's not. She hasn't proven for me to be an interesting player.
Another way to say that is we haven't been given any reason to believe that she has a lot to offer.
What? No, I think she does have game, and she is playing the game, but I don't know.
So far, she's just got narrator points.
It's kind of,
I like cheering against Gabe, but I also respect his game a lot, and it's been more effective than I thought it would be.
And even Genevieve, I have to give her that, her game and game strategy. She's made some good moves.
Yeah. Okay, so who do I got? I got Sue, I got Andy, I got Caroline, and then for me it's between Sam and Teeny. I don't know. I liked Sam's. We got to see Sam be
a little bit
effective. I liked his ability to suss things out. I liked that he didn't blow up his own game. He externally managed his emotions really well, and it seemed like he had them fooled.
Yeah,
with the little bit that we got to see. So yeah, I guess I put Teeny in that group. You're supposed to love Teeny. Hey, it's Teeny. It's even got the lovable name, Teeny.
But she's sweetie.
I don't enjoy her. I guess so. My 4 least favorites.
She seems a little indecisive.
Is it Sue? Maybe it's Andy's number 1, and then Sue, then Caroline, and then Teeny. How about you?
Okay, yeah, that's that. It's in my group. Sue, Sam, Andy.
One more.
I don't even love my own USB.
That's okay.
But
not everybody can be Kyle.
I don't know. Maybe I'll go with Genevieve, even though I can respect her game.
Yeah.
I just don't. I can't click with her.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go Genevieve.
I can see cheering against her, but she's going to be... I think she's going to really make her mark on this game.
And Teeny, because I think she's just a floater right now. She's not really, she's just kind of a floater and following. And so at least Caroline is making decisions and playing, I think, more so. I don't know, maybe not. They're kind of hand in hand for me. I don't necessarily love either gameplay as much. So
Okay. Well,
but because she's my USB,
I think that's
trying to hang on to that.
That's a question for this week in the listener feedback
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
Who are your 4 least favorites, or who are your 4 favorites? Either way you want to spin it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's your top 4?
Well,
Who's
4
your bottom
favorites
4?
was easier. That's why I went least favorite.
Yeah.
It's easy to say your favorites.
Yeah.
And one of them just left.
Yeah. If you would like to join us in the listener feedback show this Saturday, you can call and leave a voicemail. 206-350-1547. Toll free 844-643-8737. You can record your own audio and attach it to an email, or just type it up in an email and send it to us at joanneandstacyshow@gmail.com. Feedback's due noon Eastern time on Saturday. That's 9 a.m. Pacific. We ask that you keep it in that 3-minute range. Some other questions to spark your feedback. How did your assessment of the Castaways change after this week's gameplay? Who's shining? Who's looking pretty dull right now? Who impressed you the most? Who do you think's playing the best? And who's in jeopardy being voted out next? Everybody wants to hear your thoughts on that last one, for sure. At least everybody
Did
in
we
the
answer
fantasy
that?
league.
Who do we think's voted out next?
Well, we were talking about it.
Yeah.
Obviously, Kyle is being targeted.
Yeah, I think he will be. If he doesn't win, yeah, I think they will. But
I don't know if they can rally against Gabe or not, but they really need to pull something together against the Tukus. This is where Genevieve could just sort of keep switching back and forth and being, a part of that decision pivot to pick them off one by one. But we really need to see her do another when they're in the Tukus.
well, I'm afraid though Sam is not going to be on Genevieve's side with anything because he made a plan and her plan won.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm not sure he's gonna. He may still work Rachel and Andy and Teeny.
The way you get Genevieve is that you let her get one of the Tukus. Maybe she does target Gabe or Caroline. I don't know. And then you can rally people. You can rally the remaining Tukus against her.
Okay.
Teeny's going to be gunning for her.
But Teeny's going to be gunning for who?
Genevieve.
Oh, you think because of Saulwood, but she voted with it, so. But here's the thing. What if Genevieve is the swing?
Oh, yeah. Could be.
She could be.
Yeah.
Or Teeny could be, for that matter. Who knows?
Right.
But we don't know which way she will go, actually. But
Yep.
especially if Sue's targeting one of their own. I think it's way too soon. I think Gabe should talk her out of that if I were in Caroline. Mm-hmm. If they're knowing, if she's telling them, because why would you break it up right now? Now, everyone else I can see, yes, they should get rid of Kyle because he's most likely to win challenges. But for Tuku, really? I mean, is it too soon to pull that trigger yet? With that many people left, then they don't have any numbers.
Yeah, so he's left to fight another week, so there's a chance that he ends up with immunity next week. So be interesting to see how it plays out from there.
That's what I'm hoping, and then I'm ready for Sam to leave.
Okay, that's your alternate pick. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I don't know that anybody feels like Sam's a threat, but if they do, maybe they'll target him. And Andy might annoy a lot of people. Who knows? Or they may
We're
see
not
his
showing that.
charm.
We're not seeing that. They're not showing anything but positives on Andy right now.
Yeah.
They're pushing, the edit's pushing him really hard.
I just
his
wish I knew a
redemption
little
arc.
bit more where Gabe was coming from. So, I really don't know how he feels about Kyle.
Yeah, there's a lot that they hide there for sure.
Yeah, and you don't hear Caroline say a whole lot, but I'm assuming she would go with whatever Sue wanted. Because I think she probably
that's
still
how-
thinks Sue's her number one.
That's what we've been told that she's doing, yeah. Good stuff. Well, we look forward to hearing your thoughts on that in the listener feedback show. Anything else?
I think that's it.
Have a good one.